Hello, welcome to Real Talk with TAS and OnJerya. Tonight, we're in for a treat. We're going to talk about this feeling of overstimulation. I happen to hear OnJerya say that a lot. She's feeling overly stimulated. And so I want to talk about that tonight. She'll be hopping in here in just a moment. All right. Seems like my phone has a mind of its own tonight. It does not want to stay in place. Here we go. We can get her in here. Well, I don't see you, Angelia. You see me? Oh, there she is. Oh,
Where have you been? Nobody loves me like you do. Oh, I'm sorry.
nobody loves you like I do. No. Hello, MZ Shella. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Uh,
Okay.
so I was telling them, Angelia, that tonight we're going to be in for a treat because you always talk about being overly stimulated. Well, not, I should say always, but it's a phrase that I heard you talk about for quite some time about being overly stimulated. I'm trying to
Yeah.
see who is Miss Shella? You know who that is?
Looks like it's Michelle. I think that's Michelle.
Okay. Well, they sent a request to come into our live, but I don't know them, so I can't bring them in because I don't know who they are.
Yeah, it's
But anyway,
Michelle.
Michelle, I don't know
Yes,
Michelle.
you do. Michelle Carlock.
Oh, Michelle Carroll. I don't know. Hi, Michelle. I can't bring you in, but we certainly will be talking to you though. Now that you say, I do sort of see somebody's face with the sunglasses that I know. Hi, Michelle. But yeah, I was telling them, as you were coming on, that you say overstimulated a lot. And I don't know if I've heard you say it in January of this year, but I was on social media, I was on Facebook, and I saw this on someone's post. And so I want to share it, and then we'll jump off from there.
Okay.
Okay. So the person said, can we talk about the fact that women that get overstimulated? She didn't put the L-Y on it. They get overstimulated. And it's mistaken for anger. No, I'm not angry. The TV is on 88. The dryer's going. Someone's mowing the lawn. My Apple Watch dinging nonstop. My shirt's too tight. My hair isn't in a messy bun correctly. There's crumbs on the floor and I can feel it. I'm not angry. I'm overstimulated and need a minute to get myself together. Adulting, as you always say, is exhausting.
It is.
No matter what, someone always needs you. Go to work, someone needs you. Come home, someone needs you. Go to sleep, someone needs you. Shower time, someone needs you. Go into the bathroom, someone needs you. A child, a baby, an adult, I'm always needed. I'm not angry. I'm overstimulated. Let me collect myself before you start to accuse me of being in a bad mood. I just need a minute. And when I saw this, I immediately thought about you because if you said overstimulated once, well, if you said it 10 times in
Yeah.
2023, I know you said it about 300 times. I'm overstimulated. I'm overstimulated. So share with us what that means to you because I've read what the person wrote and it resonated with me because I've had a
Mhm.
moment or two of being overstimulated. I don't remember now whether it was this year, which says I'm overstimulated, or whether it was towards the end of last year. I even had to say I'm overstimulated.
I think sometimes when I say I'm overstimulated, basically it's like I've been on tunnel vision.
Okay.
So it's like I'm in that superwoman role, like I can do it, even though I know that I probably should be like, no, 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 no. It's like, but I can do it. I can make it happen. Like, of course I can do, take you to practice. Of course I can make that doctor's appointment for you.
Oh, Miss O, as they would say in the after school program, you froze on me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Miss O? Because it seems like we've lost you.
No.
Oh, we lost you. Could you hear
Oh,
me?
I can hear you. I put the D&D on. It's the parents.
Oh, so you got a phone call.
Yeah, well, I got a email alert. Like somebody was trying to access my Gmail account.
Oh, because you just went frozen all of a sudden. So I didn't know if you could hear me or what.
No,
Wow.
I heard you, but it like popped up on my screen, and I'm like, it's under D&D. I don't. Anyway, technology is
Mhm.
wonky, but yeah. So no, basically, like for me, it's just that I've taken on more. I've bitten off more than I could chew, and now I don't realize that I need to focus on me. I need to take some time away and to do things that make me happy because I basically have just been running around like a chicken with his head cut off, as they would say.
So you've just taken on too much. Now you're overstimulated because of all the things that you're trying to
Yeah.
accomplish, is what you're saying. Well, what's the difference between being overstimulated and being overwhelmed?
I think when you're overwhelmed, you understand your boundaries. Like you have boundaries when you're overwhelmed. Whereas when you're overly stimulated, boundaries is not even a word that's even in your vocabulary. Because even if it's like, I don't want to say no because I feel like if I say no, I feel bad. Because
Okay.
then it doesn't get accomplished.
Okay. But was it going to get accomplished anyway if you're overly stimulated?
No, I mean, it will. Now, it may not be accomplished in the manner that it could be because I'm not always 100% my best. Because now you're getting the side. Like, so I'll get it done, but it's no longer takes priority, I guess.
So, so I'm really trying to understand the difference between overly stimulated and overwhelmed. Now you're saying with overwhelmed, I can't say no. I've
No,
lost my ability. Is it the other way around?
it's the other way around. Like when you're overwhelmed, you basically are able to establish boundaries. And I feel like when you're overly stimulated, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe it's the other way around, or maybe it's neither one that applies. But basically, it's like when you're overstimulated, boundaries doesn't exist because whatever has to be done has to be done. Whatever the task is, it has to. It's hard to say no, right? Because you feel like if you say no, it's like that guilty conscience of like, well, what if I say no? How is this person going to react? So it's almost like you put yourself last, and then as a
Well,
result,
well,
you
I
wear
thought
yourself in.
as a result, what now?
You wear yourself in.
Okay, well, you said so much. I'm trying to keep up. Now, it seems like we're almost talking about what I talk about in transformation, a willing obligation or a choice. Because you're saying that, hi, LW Services, thanks for joining us. You're saying that I'm not able, I don't feel empowered to say no.
Right.
And that's the one, if I am, it seems to me, and I could be wrong, it seems almost to me, come on, Shell, she says, I feel that overstimulation leads to being overwhelmed. Okay.
True.
I can see that, because it seems to me what you're saying is, and I agree, Michelle, it could lead to being overwhelmed, which I guess then it does go back to what you're saying then. In the beginning stages where I'm feeling overly stimulated, I can't
Right.
say no. I cannot establish
The
boundaries.
boundaries.
But then when I'm overwhelmed, hey Melissa, thanks for joining us. When I'm overwhelmed, then I'm going to get it done, but I'm not going to get it done being at my best, because now it's like, okay, I didn't say no, so I feel like I got to get it done. So I'm going to get it done. It may not be the my best work, but it's done
Right.
because I'm overwhelmed and I got all this other stuff that I still got to do. Okay. Okay. Well, Melissa, we're talking about the being overly stimulated. I'd seen a post on Facebook someone had shared, and the lady was talking about she was overstimulated. So I shared the post, and it caught my eye because OnJerya, and she still says it, she's overly
Yeah.
stimulated, and I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between overstimulated and overwhelmed. Michelle said that she thinks that you're overly stimulated first, and then that leads to the feeling of being overwhelmed, which goes back to what OnJerya was saying, that when she's overly stimulated, she doesn't feel that she can say no. But you do say no. Let's be real. You say I'm overstimulated, and that means back off.
But do you really say no, though?
Well, well,
No.
well, but you don't do it. Whatever, you don't want to talk, you don't do whatever the people are asking you
But
to do.
the thing is, though, is that to the other party, they don't realize that. See,
That you're not doing what
because
they want.
right, because I don't. Because see, no is a word in my vocabulary with some people. But with other people, it's hard to say no because they're gonna guilt trip you and make you feel bad, and it's like, okay, whatever. But with those people, instead of me just flat out being like, no, I can't do this, I just go off the grid.
So you're being passively aggressive, and I don't know if I'm using the term right. Well, you're being passive. You won't face it head on. You're just going to go off the grid. But that doesn't change anything, because then people still don't know that you have reached your overstimulation point and you've gone into being overwhelmed, and that's the reason you've withdrawn. They don't know that, so then they're still trying to reach you, and then you're going to be saying, I'm overly stimulated, and they're like, what does she mean she's overly stimulated? Because it really means nothing to the other
Right.
person until they understand what it means for you. Hey, Manswell, thanks for joining us. What it means for you to be overly stimulated.
But sometimes even when you tell them that you're overly stimulated or I'm needing to take time away, they don't want to hear it because it's like their needs is more important than your needs in that moment. And that's why sometimes I just ghost.
Well, you're not late. You came right on in at the right time, man, as well. We having a discussion about what it means to be overwhelmed. I saw a post on, excuse me, I said that wrong. Overly stimulated. You're supposed to correct me, OnJerya. Overly stimulated.
You
OnJerya
was in the
says
moment,
all.
man.
Hmm.
You was in the moment. I was letting the Lord use you.
She to let the Lord use me. You knew
Yes,
that
sir.
if He was going to use me, I was going to fix it, huh, and say the right thing. Okay, thank you, Lord, because you see what OnJerya is doing for me. So anyway, I saw a post about being overly stimulated, because OnJerya says that all the time, and I will, she's up to her to share her real truth. But I will say this: since she's been saying overly stimulated, her behavior has changed. And I said that to someone. I said she's overly stimulated, and it was an older person, and it was a male, and I'm sure that they didn't understand what I meant, because I said it several times, because her behavior has changed. There's certain things that she just doesn't do anymore, and I can understand one of those things that you modify how you do it, only because I've been in incidents where I had some trauma there, and then it took me a while to become comfortable doing that. But basically, we're talking about, is it overstimulation?
Mhm.
Is that overwhelm? Michelle said no. She thinks that we're overly stimulated, which then leads to us being overwhelmed. And if that's the case, then your thoughts about not being able to say no when you're in that overstimulation mode does ring true, which then puts you in overwhelm. And that's when you start ghosting people. So people just be ghosting you, and you're not even in a relationship with them, huh? But you are in some type of relationship, just not in a romantic relationship. You
Yeah.
just ghost people.
And
Oh,
you have to. Because, like I said, they don't understand. Like, if you tell them, like, look, I can't do this,
No,
okay?
they don't.
And I'm not going to throw myself under the bus.
You're not. Okay. Oh,
I'm not
oh,
going
oh, oh,
to throw my,
are you? You're not talking. Are you not trying to throw shade on me? Are you?
I am throwing shade. I
Oh,
am
I was
all
reading what
shade with
Manswell said.
you.
And wait a minute, I'm reading what Manswell said. He said he laid, y'all got to extend for 15 minutes, and you're saying you throwing me under the
I am
bus.
throwing you under the bus. I
Well,
certainly
throw
am.
me then. Well,
Because
throw me then.
because the problem is
See how
that
you done go
sometimes
out again. Hey, Latifah, you just went out. See, that's God don't like ugly. You went out, and they can hear nothing you say. He don't like ugly. You know, he ain't too fun for cute.
first of all, you didn't go anywhere, so obviously God is on my side. Who won't he do?
But I couldn't hear you on the side now.
Maybe because you weren't supposed to hear that.
Obviously not. But we'll see what's on there when I when I listened back to everything. Go ahead, throw me on the bus.
There was a situation where,
Okay.
you know, the parents had requested. Now I know I was wrong, but I also feel like they knew they were wrong too, because for those that may or may not be aware, like I just completed my second master's back in September. So for those that is in school, regardless of what you're in school for, you tend to check out, especially when you at the end. Cause you done, right? Like I've been doing this for so long, I'm ready to be done. Okay, I'm ready to get my cap and gown and march on to the next phase in the life. And so my parents, they knew that. They knew that I was doubling up, tripling up on classes because I was trying to come on out.
Yep.
And they delegated me this task as if it was nobody else that could do the task of trying to find them a computer. Now, I'm not gonna go all in detail, but needless to say, Teresa got involved in something that didn't need she didn't need to get involved with. And she wound up
Nevermore,
having her
said the Raven.
getting
Nevermore.
flustered. She got flustered by the situation. And the words that I told her was, see, you see?
But
Now you
I
jumped in
wasn't
something.
overstimulated. Though. I can tell you this: I
But
wasn't
what were you
overstimulated.
doing? What you call it then? Were you overwhelmed?
No, I wasn't overwhelmed
What were you
either. I was just displeased with
frustrated?
how things were unfolding. I can own my truth. I was displeased. I made a mistake, and once I made a mistake, I knew we was off to the races. It was not going to be corrected, and it wasn't. It had to be taken back to the store for them to wipe it and then correct or whatever they had to do. They fixed whatever I did. Yeah.
But you
Hey,
see, had you just let it go? Hi,
well, but
everybody.
as you
How
said,
you,
you should.
how you just let it go and let it unfold? Because see, that's another example of how sometimes other people
They pull you
can,
into their pull
right?
you into their
Yes,
nightmare, and it had become a little bit of a nightmare.
yes.
It had become a nightmare. Manswell said I had to tell a person who wanted to hire him. She asked him 7 times. He told her 8 times no. Exactly. Leave me alone after school. Oh, come on here now, Manswell. But I understand because once I finished my doctorate, I took was it but 3 years before I could read for pleasure because I just could not. I couldn't read, and I love to read. I couldn't read for pleasure for 3 years. But again, you should have. I understand, but you should have either negotiated or told them that you couldn't do it.
Have you met my parents?
I
My
know
parents
them.
are your parents.
I
Have
know
you
them.
met me? Do you,
I
is
know
no
them.
is telling them no an option?
Again, you never got it done. It was what 9 months when I got in it, and I
No,
got I
you carry me.
was it nine
No
months, and then
child.
I got it. I'm like, what is going on? And and the computer been sitting in your what you say in your cart
And
for
my
9 months. 9 months now.
because see, the thing is, I knew that it wasn't just getting the
It
computer. See, the people think like,
wasn't.
okay,
It wasn't.
just get the computer. No, like when I get the computer, now I got to make time to go and set the computer up. And that was the thing is that I didn't have time to go set the computer up because she was outside and she was also in school.
So you say you put your parents on the back burner because you was outside and you were in school, so they were on the back burner for 9 months. Now, how does that
My
make
mental
you feel?
health, I chose me. I got to put me first, Lucius. I got to put me first.
Okay, now, so you got to put you first.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, now, I can't argue with that because what do I say? Don't you can't take care of anybody else until you take care of you. So I can't really say too much on that. But Michelle said when we present ourselves as strong or proficient at multitasking, I ain't got to read no more, Michelle. They have no reservations about imposing. Now, come on, Michelle. Even when they know your plate is full. Now, Michelle, I know her parents too. Now, our parents don't do that. Well, they do.
they do.
But they are our parents, though. They're our parents. And I know I have met them. God knows I've met them.
You met them
Sometimes I'm
right.
them. But I've met them. But but what did you accomplish? 9 months. Who's my man? 9 years. Whose song is that?
That's
Is
I
that
think
what?
it's Shirley
Oh
Caesar.
no,
No charge.
no. This ain't Christian. This ain't Christian. Nine. Is it R. Kelly? 9 years. Nine something. You have no something. Wait a minute.
No,
Is that R. Kelly?
that's 2 years ago. That's 2 years ago.
Oh. Oh. It's 2 years
Yeah,
ago. Yeah.
2 years ago. Promise is all I heard. Wait a minute. Let me. Ooh,
Yeah.
yes,
That's it.
girl.
But
You
it's
better be
all right.
careful. You better be careful what you
What you do to
do.
me? So that is R. I just
It
said moved it up to 9 months.
is.
Yeah, I'll change a song. I'll change your name in a heartbeat. It's all out of love. But yeah, so 9 months. Thank God it didn't go 2 years. If I hadn't got involved, and God knows, I'm gonna try not to get involved in no more mess like that. Do you think you would have done it by now? Let's be real.
Yeah.
You would have done it last weekend.
I would.
Last
I
weekend.
would have. I would have. See, this is the problem: is that we have that impatient spirit. Like we can't wait. We want stuff like right,
Yeah, right now, right now. It's called
right
you and me,
now.
you and our friend need to get together. I need to remember to text her and say it's no longer the blank blank spirit. Now it's the impatient spirit, huh? I won't
Yes.
call her no names, won't have to bear no blame, but she gonna be like, y'all talking about me? Yeah, so it's no longer that spirit. Now we got that impatient spirit.
I need it
Well,
right
wait a minute.
now.
Let's be careful how we talk about it. We just got to recognize it because we're not
We
going to pray for
do.
nothing with
No,
that
we're not gonna pray
impatience.
for that.
No, we ain't praying for
No,
nothing.
no,
So we just got
no,
to
no.
recognize that some people they're living that what they call it that microwave generation. Even though
Yes.
they may not be in that generation, they not living that themselves, and just have to help them to understand that you
But the
overstimulated. Okay.
thing is, though, as a result of them not waiting, what was the outcome?
They still had to wait because I made a mistake. I'm telling you, I took it. I got the computer. I took it home. It was set up. I made a mistake. It could not be
Uh
corrected.
huh.
It can be corrected. So it had to come
Mm-hmm,
back to the store.
mm-hmm,
It go in the storehouse. Go into the
mm-hmm.
computer hospital for about 24 hours. They fixed it because it wasn't a big mistake. And like I kept telling them, but we couldn't correct it. I
You
said,
sure it
I'm
wasn't a
sure
big
people do
mistake?
this all the time. And when we took it to the computer hospital, it was urgent care, really. We took it for urgent care, and they said, oh, yeah, people do this all the time. And they had it fixed within 24 hours. But,
Mm-hmm.
let me just tell you, it felt like 2 years. It felt like 2 years because you tell me it won't 9 months. It felt like 2 years. Oh, and I'm telling you guys, got to understand this great philosopher. A man's got to know his limitations. I
Yes.
knew the limitations because when these computer literate people could not get it to work, I had to keep telling them, we can take it back because I know this ain't the first time this happened. This is not the first time. So we had to pack the computer up and reassemble, Michelle, reconnect them back to their old stuff until we could, take the computer to the urgent care. And this ain't no
Mm-hmm.
joke. Has it been a month? Or yeah, it's been
It's been
probably
like
right
a
at a
month
month that
now.
this happened. This is before Christmas. So been right at a good 6 weeks before when this happened. But
Yeah.
again, I'm not getting in it. I was not overly stimulated. I was able to regulate. Now I'm really proud because TAS is
No,
transforming. I was able to
but
self-regulate.
at
My
what point were
emotions
you?
did not get out of hand. No. And my family family, and sometimes they don't self-regulate well. My mother, she didn't lose it. My father, he stayed calm too, you
Were
know,
we
and
on
I
the same
stayed
phone call?
calm. Huh?
Were we on the same phone call?
You so silly. There always got to be somebody. You so silly. Instant coffee. Instant results. That's it, man. As well. Instant coffee, instant
Right.
results. I'm on the. You so crazy. You on the floor laughing. So you didn't. They don't. No, I didn't call Geek Squad.
Geek
The
Squad would have been
closest Geek
able to help me.
Squad would have been in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's best for me to bring the computer on back with me. Cause Geek Squad won't go travel. Half gonna travel, but they won't go travel that far. Bless
But
their
the
sweet
thing
soul.
is, though,
Mm-hmm.
after all of that, who had to come and save the day?
OnJerya did because she's the one that always puts their stuff together. So even after we got it back to them Christmas Day and put it together, there still was a few hiccups. And there's a lesson in this. There's several. One, I know how to
Say your
self-regulate, but
name.
let me just say this now. I know how to self-regulate, but don't try me. It might be one of them days I'm not self-regulating well. Don't try me now. I know how to self-regulate. My parents, they self-regulated. They didn't get excited, even when we came back the second time. Uh, Angelia, she's right out of the second master, so she was moving a little slow. I'm like, well, can you please get this working for them so that we don't have to hear that? And so she went back there. She did her magic. It took a few minutes now. Because their stuff is always complicated. As she was telling me, their stuff is really complicated. And it is. I don't know why. But yeah, you still had to come in. And I get your point. You were overly stimulated. So when they talked to you about this, like February, March of
Right.
last year, you just could not
No.
wrap your brain around it. And they didn't understand. And they waited 9 months. And then they thought they'd have a child and bring me in and get me involved in this stuff. And then I learned to self regulate and
Okay.
understood I was not the Geek Squad, and we were not going to fix that. So bring that puppy on back to urgent care and let Geek Squad handle it. And they did. So I mean, there was really lots of lessons there.
Yeah.
Now, my question was that a willing choice or was that a willing obligation? It was a willing choice.
Yes, it
I
was.
thought I was helping you out.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was helping my parents out,
Mm-hmm.
but I really didn't help nobody out.
No.
I didn't help, but I'm not mad about it. I didn't lose my cool.
Now,
I didn't help. What'd you say?
now you're not mad about it.
I wasn't
Now,
mad then. I knew that we couldn't fix
girl,
it, and there's no reason to keep going over something over and over again because it wasn't going to get fixed. When you have pulled up the YouTube library, I mean, not library, university, you have Googled it, and you have tried everything that it says to take care of it, and it doesn't take care of it. I have learned to self-regulate. And my thing is you don't keep knocking your head up against the wall thinking that something else is going to happen. After 4 or 5 tries doing multiple things, let's just pack this baby up and take on to the doctor because you're not going to fix it.
right.
And it wasn't fixable, not by non-geek squad people. But they fixed it. Like I said, we put it in the urgent care. They had it done with less than 24
Mm-hmm.
hours. It was raining. I said, I can't go get it right now. We'll pick it up in a couple of days. So it was raining hard. I'm like, let's don't get the box wet. And then next thing you know, they'll be saying, well, that computer, something happened. You sure you didn't get it wet? Ooh. And then I might not have been able to self-regulate. It might have
True.
been one of them bad things they caught me. But I hear you,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. O. So you're saying that because I could not respect and didn't understand what it meant to be overly stimulated,
Yes, girl.
I got in the middle of some stuff that I should have left alone.
Okay.
And I got my comeuppance, I think is what the guy says in one of the mummy movies. I got my comeuppance
Mm-hmm.
because I should have left that alone. Now, I'm not going to lie, guys. If it comes up again, I'm not touching it because it's just challenging. It's very challenging.
It was.
It's
It was very challenging. But again, that's why, I'm agreeing with Mansell. Yeah, Todd, you see what had happened was that's exactly how she is portraying this story, but I'm promising you, it was definitely not what had happened was on that phone. But it's okay, I'm gonna let it go now.
was talking fast because you know I'm a fast talker, so I
Girl,
probably was talking fast.
you were
And,
definitely talking fast, and I was on the phone, and I can imagine you were.
well, but it was my fault though. I'm the one that messed it up. You it was me. I did it. I own it. I own my truth. I did the wrong thing. So, and now I'm not gonna say my tone didn't change, guys. Yeah, my tone
Oh,
changed because again, these I'm serious, but my parents had been waiting 9 months. I'm not exaggerating that. It could have been
it really has
almost
been about
12.
9 months. It really has been
So I'm
about.
not exaggerating for that about that. And their computer wasn't working, so they couldn't do different stuff, and on and on and on. And even during this time period, I'm very serious about my aunt died, so that meant my daddy didn't have the computer. He had the old computer, but it really won't do anything. So he couldn't start typing on the obituary. So again, it was a lot of things happening,
It
and it's
was.
like it was 2 years ago. Wait a minute, it was 2 years
This is
ago,
all I
not 9 months.
heard.
You know, So again, uh, but so you can understand why I was trying to do what I thought would be
Right.
good for my parents and good for OnJerya, but it wound up being not good for me because my parents still didn't have a working computer, and OnJerya still had to take care of it. So Michelle said, "I don't ghost people, but they can definitely feel the change in." Lord, Michelle, I said, Lord, so they can definitely feel the change in your demeanor.
So they need to read in between the lines, and that's where they go wrong. They don't want to read in between the lines, and I understand.
How am I gonna read it between the lines? Is that because it's invisible. So am I supposed to pull out this magical magnifying glass to read in between the lines? 'Cause I don't understand the lines. I didn't even know anything was in between them. Hi, Chanel, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. But yeah, I mean, no, people don't read between the lines. Meza said, I go so good, my nickname, Lord Jesus. He said he goes so good, his nickname is Casper, the friendly ghost. But he ain't friendly, he just gone. But, now we're having fun with this, but all this, now really, all of this is true.
Yeah,
Really, it is. This is all true.
it really
I'm
is.
I'm not messing with them no more
True story.
technology. I can tell you that. And the bottom line is you can't even send nobody in. You're gonna have to go in. Because
Yes.
if someone comes in, because the person was a professional, but they let me do something. I'm not a professional. And it just went to the left after that. But again, even you have to come in because you know their system, you know
Right.
how things work there.
Right.
And even if the Geek Squad came down, they wouldn't be able to make things work. And there's so many lessons in this. One, when someone says they're overstimulated, listen
Yeah.
to me.
Please
Understand
do.
what that means. Yes, Taz, read the room. I'm telling you, Jesus, read the room. Yes, you should have helped them to understand what it meant to be overly stimulated.
I
And
tried
then I,
to, but they didn't want to listen because again, they wanted it on their time, and their time just didn't align with my time. And I think there's something wrong with that.
she's chuckling because ultimately she's so awful, guys. She's awful like this. So ultimately, what you're trying to say is it still was on your time because I messed it up. I think with Mercury in retro, it was a lot happening in the atmosphere at that time. I messed up the technology, so they still didn't get it when they thought they were going to get it. They got it Christmas, but you still had to do the last little tinkerings. Thank God she was Christmas dinner because if not, they still wouldn't have had it because what she had to do, only she was going to be able to do that. So there is something about understanding and recognizing what people's demeanor means. I'm with Michelle on that because
Yeah,
it does mean something. And we need to learn to back off, but people don't want to back off.
right.
And I guess the atmosphere will back you out because I should have backed off
You should have.
and I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't. Because see, when you called me with it, I was like, oh, okay, okay. Because I already knew. how it was gonna go down, and it went down exactly how I thought it was gonna go down. And I'm just like, now see, you done jumped in something that had nothing to do with you. See, this is A and B. Now you need to see your way out because you done jumped in something, and then got yourself having to regulate,
Yeah.
self-regulate.
That's so true, Ms. Don't let TAS, don't let TAS do anything with the computer. Now that's
No,
the truth. Now, no, you cannot. I can't even find it anymore. No, do not let. Oh Lord, he's OnJerya, his girl. Bless his heart. He's just so sweet. But no, don't let TAS do anything with the computer because it's gonna mess up. You see how I keep trying to get the comments? I keep messing that up. Thank you. We love having you. Thank you for loving the show. Yes, OnJerya said it's above me, and it was. And yeah, don't let me do anything with the technology. See, I'm having a problem here right now. Yeah, no, don't. I could tell a story, but I'm not because if I tell it,
let's hear that.
everybody gonna know. But yeah, when you see something that kind of gives you the indication that it's technology, call the pros.
Yeah,
Don't call me
yeah.
because I'm not. It's like Ghostbuster. Don't call me because I'm not gonna be able to help you. You'll be messed up. And yes, again, Miss OnJerya, I learned my lesson, as I
You
said.
did.
I'm
You
not
did.
getting anything else at their house. Whoever you
No.
asked about that, let her handle it. Because you can handle it. I don't know anything.
But you know
And
what the funny thing is, though, is that I think even through them going through that experience, they still didn't learn the lesson.
he said they didn't learn the lesson. What lesson were they supposed to learn, OnJerya?
Slow and steady wins the race.
Oh, okay. Mansell said his 12-year-old takes care of his mama's stuff. Oh, he is
Yeah,
good. He
he's
is good.
really good.
Well, Trinity
Yeah,
probably could have taken care of it, but she won't down there. I don't know about
she, Trinity would have left them alone.
that. Oh God, yes she would have. Yes, she would have left them alone. Yes.
I can hear Papa. Papa, you need to call somebody.
and, and she knows how to self-regulate. She'd have told them that real nicely, and she would have just exit stage left. She won't go get involved in that. So yeah, I'm with her on that. But no.
but,
Uh,
but yes. So, I mean, yes, there's a difference between being overwhelmed and overly stimulated, but the bottom line is just recognizing those signs when you're at that place and just coming up with different ways of, how you're going to handle the situation. And I guess for me, maybe I shouldn't necessarily, just, I mean, I don't block people, but, I will go off the grid with you in a minute. So, I mean, if it's an emergency, you better send me a 911 text and be like, girl, it's an emergency. Because otherwise, yeah, I'm not going to answer. And so, having those boundaries that we don't have, it's hard to establish, especially with family. It's
yeah,
hard to establish, those boundaries, especially, when it's like your parents where you have to say no.
yeah.
And you don't want to, but you kind of have to. And I get where you're coming from with well, you have to have these conversations, and it's like, why? They're going to fall on deaf ears because they don't care. They only want their needs to be taken care of in that moment. And once their needs are met, then it's good to go. So it's kind of like the child that's like wanting, something to eat or wanting like some ice cream. You're like, okay, I'll get to it in a little bit. I get to it in a minute. I get to it in a minute. And they just keep nagging and nagging and nagging. And then that's when you like, look, I said. And then you get out
But
of character. And then you have to self-regulate.
but were we not like that at some point also?
Yeah.
And are we not like that sometimes now?
Yes.
So what's the so I mean, so well, what are you expecting from them? It's like you're expecting more from them than what you give sometimes.
But in this scenario, I was expecting my parents to be understanding,
They
given
were for 9 months. I thought it was 2 years. But you keep telling me It was 9 months. For 2 years. They waited on you. Wait a minute. For 2 years. They waited on you. You should have
Look,
been playing Step in the Name of Love. I think your mama like Step in the Name of Love. And you should have been playing, you should have told her you got a lot on you, but listen to Step in the Name of Love. And every time she listened to it, you get a little bit closer to getting her stuff done for her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Step in the Name of Love.
they didn't want to hear it. Again, they wanted that microwave effect, and they still didn't get it. And so, as a result, everybody learned a
I
lesson. I can't say they learned
did.
a lesson.
I did. I'm
I
not
can't
gonna
say
tell you.
they
I'm
learned
taking
it,
it forever.
but
Call me about anything.
you know,
Mm-mm.
I definitely learned a lesson, and I'm trying to work on that with certain people, and just you know communicating like, look, I just can't do it.
And it's hard. I mean, it is
It
very
is.
hard, but it is so freeing to be able to say no. And you can explain if you want
Really
to, but you
though.
don't have to because no is a complete sentence. No.
But I feel like when you say no, there's a but that comes with it.
From you or from them.
I don't know for whoever you
Oh,
talking to. You're like,
so they
no,
got a but. Yeah, oh, yeah, they may have a but you can listen to it and say, thank you so much. Or as my you've heard me say this. Have a good day. That's the way the gentleman that was my tailor, he has retired on me. That's what he would say when you were leaving. Have a good day. hmm And that's a lot in what he was saying. Thank you so much. Bye.
but people don't want to hear that though.
Well, you go ghost them because you're not even gonna answer the phone. so you might as well tell them because you're not gonna answer the phone. You're
I'm
gonna
sure
ghost them. And
they're
Michelle
not
said
gonna
they
answer that
don't notice
phone.
your demeanor has changed, so you don't have to ghost them.
But again, it's like I said, it's lessons learned, and communication is important, and adulting is hard.
Yes, it is.
um,
Yep, you've been saying that for about 15 years now.
I
Adulting
really
is
have.
hard. Mm-hmm.
I have, and like the Alexa, she's going through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But she says she's not liking adulting.
She said, I am not liking adulting. I said, honey, we
Mm-hmm.
welcome you.
Yeah, yeah.
These are the best years of your life.
Well, no, the best years was before she graduated from high school. Now she getting ready to get a little taste of the real world
I mean,
because when you have to buy your own stuff, it's like, oh,
but
so
even
this costs
right
money.
now, it does. But even right now, this is still the best years because you don't have no real
That's
responsibilities
true.
except for
That's
just going to
true.
school.
That's true.
Now, once
That's true.
she graduate go walk across that stage, and she really out here.
She gonna really know what adulting's all about.
You don't know what adulting's all about.
Well, then maybe
Um,
she'll understand the difference between overly
yeah.
stimulated and overweight.
Cause one day she gonna look back and be like, I see now what my mama was talking about.
She was overly stimulated. It's too many people, too many things vying for your time. You know.
It is. And you don't
Well,
have, and unfortunately, there's not enough, time in the day, hours in the day. You're one person. Unfortunately, you can't split yourself into like 20 million different people to accomplish all these different tasks. And that goes back to prioritizing, right? Like, what is a
mhm,
priority? And that's hard because depending on who, what, when, where, why, everything's a priority. But you
mhm.
also have to say, is everything really a priority?
Well, I thought it was.
Okay, well, it's not, and that's why you over there getting ghosted. And I agree with Manswell. That's why we Casper, not the friendly ghost. We're getting
Okay, that's
ghosted.
why
Okay,
y'all cast it, not the friendly ghost, because people don't understand. No, because
they
they
don't.
don't. But it's up to us to make the decision that's going to benefit us, and it's ultimately going to benefit them. Because you want me to do something, I'm fragmented. I can't do it right now. And again, as that great philosopher says, a man or woman got to know their limitation.
They do.
And when you're fragmented, and other people they can hear you say that, but they don't understand it because it's not them. They're looking at what their needs are and they're trying to get their needs met at that particular moment. So, again, this thing about being overly stimulated, you can't get a moment's peace because somebody's grabbing at you all the time. And then, of course, what I read didn't even talk about social media grabbing your attention too. So it's like you
Absolutely.
cannot, have a moment's peace. And that's so necessary. And I grew up, Michelle, because I hadn't thought about it that way, that maybe the overstimulation comes first.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're overwhelmed. Because you're right. If I look at it that way, then I'm not saying no. And I need to be empowered to say no. And think about it, guys, as we wrap up. If I can't say
Yeah.
no because something's in my best interest, when am I ever going to say no?
You're not.
You're not. Which
Why?
means that you're constantly compromising your worth, your physical, mental, spiritual, body, mind, soul. You're compromising everything because you're not able to say no.
Yeah.
That seems like something's off with that. Yeah.
It
And that's
is.
something you can stock up. You need to examine that, because why would you not be able to say no at some point in
True.
time? That
We'll
marriage
get
goes.
there. It's a work in order. Work in progress. We'll get there one day.
We
Until
will.
then,
We will. And
we'll continue to ghost people.
Michelle, I can't do nothing with her and Manswell. They're going to keep ghosting people,
Yeah.
huh? So they won't listen. So since they won't listen, you're going to ghost them, huh?
Mhm. Because you
Right.
need to read the room. If you keep calling and they're not answering,
Mm-hmm. But
then
it's hard sometimes to say goodbye. Obviously, I've gone to my music thing now. No, 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 no. He never can say goodbye. It's hard to say goodbye.
because Chris Brown said it's never a right time to say goodbye, but unfortunately,
Well,
sometimes you have to.
well, my person, my sermon says that they got the gift of goodbye, and he one of his sermons.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's what T.D. Jakes said. He got the gift of goodbye.
Yeah.
So you got to get that gift to say no
Mm-hmm.
and goodbye when you have to. And as Jakes would say, sometimes people's season has ended. And when their season has ended, thanks for joining us, Dale Graves. When their season has ended, it's over. My scriptures, they went out from us, but they were not of us. But they'd been of us, surely they would have continued on with us.
Yeah.
And then he says this in a sermon. And Jake says that, you get super glue and you still can't make the people stay with you. Read the room is what y'all saying.
Read the room.
Read the room. Get
Read the
that
room.
magnifying glass. Read in between the lines, because it's over. It's over.
It's over.
And it's not a bad thing.
No.
I don't know. Mama said it's so you get your little red wagon. Oh no, Mama said you can pull it or you can pull your wagon. I said in an interview with someone that you take your ticket and you go your way, and I take my ticket and I go my way. It don't mean it's a bad thing. There's nothing wrong
No.
with it, because things change, and we've got to be able to recognize it and respect it. And if we did, when people are telling us that they're overly stimulated, we
Yeah.
we push our own selves back, because they've already backed us off, but we don't understand that.
Exactly.
So, well, Miss OnJerya, I thank you for a real lively
Yes, Ed.
talk with Todd and OnJerya. She done threw all this shade on me, showing how I'm just not the person to reach out to for technology.
No.
Got a new computer, had to bring it back to the urgent care because I did one thing wrong and we just could not correct it. But as they said, oh, this happens all the time. And I knew it did. So I was able to self regulate. And Jerry was probably dying laughing when she
I
found out
was.
what happened. See how she does me?
I was.
Dying laughing.
I was. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah, because you like, she should have, I think you did tell me, you should have left
I
that
did.
alone.
I told
I
you
told
to left it
them that I
alone.
was going to take care of them with the computer. But it had been 2 years.
2 years.
9 months.
Promises is all I heard.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah, 2 years had been on you, and you had not taken care of their computer. So they reached out to me. Wrong step. They should not have reached out to me. Wait a minute. But they've got it now. That's the most important thing, and it's
Yeah, they
working.
do.
And we thank you, OnJerya, for helping to get that last little piece
Yes.
done. Because, like I said, if Geek Squad had come, they still couldn't have finished that last little piece, so they still have been without a computer. So all's well that ends well, and you're right. We need to respect people when they say they are overly stimulated, and
Right.
but also we have to advocate for ourselves and back people off so that we can regroup and then be able to service them in whatever we've committed to a little faster. Because if we'd have backed out, they might would have had everything working. No, they weren't going to have anything working. They would have got it in January. January maybe. Might have been getting it in
Yeah, I'm not.
February.
Yeah, they probably would have. I'm not even gonna lie. They probably would have.
Yeah,
It'd still
2 years.
been sitting in the car.
2 years, y'all. See what I'm saying? You see, I got the brunt of that, but I handled it. So, Miss OnJerya, thank you so much for another uh, insightful Real
Yeah.
Talk with TAS and OnJerya. And until next time, guys, before you take care of someone else, she's taking care of herself. You see, I didn't understand.
Mhm.
Make sure you take care of yourself first. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye bye.